Alright, no problem. Alright, so we live. Let me just go into the. Alright, so we live. So, Mayor? You already Mayor? Oh, right. So, we just do a little short interview with you?
Not tonight. I just organize them to
To get the.
things for the
Oh,
okay?
okay. But when would be a good time? If I want to get a meeting with you, because
Every Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
Tuesday, 1 o'clock?
Every Tuesday, 1 o'clock in City.
Alright,
Right?
alright. No problem. Eh? Alright, so we live and alive, and we broadcasting from at the meeting in downtown Port Spain. Eh. Where she going? Go with him. Alright, so we live and alive. Okay. For those who just joining us, we are live at Belmont Community Center where people are starting to come in for the meeting this evening. And we are bringing to you live from downtown Port Spain. In the back of me, you're seeing the ministry of big ministry of health. Yeah. Why are we not seeing it again? But we're already going to talk about. Alright, so we here. Anyway, now the national anthem, please. Yeah, see them. I know the scene, they wear this up. I know the scene, so they wear this up. Yeah. Them small thing you go pick. Young army. Lord have mercy. Hey, let me help you. Oh, value, you know what I'm saying? Value, right? Yeah. He is the deputy political leader of the People's National Movement for Legislative Matters. Yeah. And from 2015 to 2025, he served as Minister of Finance. Yeah. And let's not forget, during some of the most difficult economic times in our nation's history, you still got your salaries on time. The country stayed afloat and our economy stayed steady. Please join me, put your hands together, and help me welcome a true servant of the people, the guardian of our economy, the Honorable Paul Ingram. Great. Yeah. My short like hug because I don't go back in the parliament. Let me say a pleasant good evening to all members of the PNM executive, all members of the Port of Spain, North, St. Anne's, West constituency, all other PNM members and supporters, the media, invited guests. What's happening here tonight? Normally, it's a tradition, and it has been a tradition for the PNM for the last, I don't know, how long, 50, 60 years, 50 or 60 years. The PNM would go to Pigot's Corner in Belmont and deal with the budget. Yes. Whether we're in government, whether we're in opposition. We're here tonight because it's a rainy season. So we didn't want to get rained out. And this is a beautiful venue. Let's give it up for the also we don't trust the UNC. So the rest of our members have stayed in the parliament, but we don't know what they are up to. They try to pull a skull and end the debate if they see us leaving. So I have come first. Shortly, Mr. Scotland will join us. He will speak after me. And then your very own member of parliament will speak after Mr. Scotland. And then the political leader will speak. So we do it in stages. As I leave, Mr. Young will come and so on. So let me see if I can break down this budget for you. In 2015, we were appointed to the government, to the cabinet, on the 12th of September, or the 11th of September 2015, actually. But the first working day was the 12th of September 2015. That's the first day all of us went into our offices as ministers in 2015. The budget was read on the 5th of October. So just about 3 weeks after we were appointed, we had a fully functional budget. Yeah. These people have been in office for 5 months and they still can't get it right. In fact, they are 2 weeks late with this budget debate. And one of the things we suspect they may try to do, which they did in 2010, is to keep running us right through to 6 o'clock in the morning to make sure the people don't hear what PNM MPs have to say. But it's all right. They did that in 2010 and we still beat them. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether we have to talk at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We will still give them thunder in this parliament tonight. Now, this budget has been described by the political leader as fake and fraudulent. Yeah. And there's no two ways about that. What I find so interesting, you have these people up at the university, the people who write in the papers all the time. When we're in government, any little thing we do, they jump up one time. They go on TV, they go on radio, they write an article.
You realize it quiet like a mouse? Yeah. They're not saying a word. But let me tell you what they're not telling you. This budget is really a fraud. It is a fraud. In last year, 2025, the government collected $15 billion in revenue, a total of 50 billion, and spent 59 billion. So there was a shortfall between income and expenditure of $9 billion. We had projected it to be five, they had four, because they just don't know what they are doing. In this budget 2026, these fraudsters are predicting that they will collect 5 billion more than they collected last year. How they doing that? I don't know. And they're going to spend the same amount of money, 59 billion. So in this year's budget, they say revenue will be 55 billion, expenditure 59 billion, the same amount as last year. Let me tell you the skullduggery in this budget. They have reduced the price of super gas by $1. Now, Trinidadians and Tobagonians consume 600 million liters of super gas every year. So multiply 600 million by a dollar, and you realize that is $600 million in income that the government just gave away. Then they've given Tobago an extra 400 million. So add the 600 and the 400. What do you get? A billion just disappeared. But they're spending the same amount of money, 59 billion. So where that billion gone? They have had to take it from somewhere. Okay? I'll start right here with Mother Spain. I got a table today produced by the mayor. And I think it's important, and I think we have to keep beating this so that people understand what is going on in this country. Last year, the money that was allocated for the Port Spain Corporation, actual expenditure on wages and salaries, on goods and services, was $40 million. That's the actual amount spent by the Port Spain Corporation. And it wasn't enough because they squeezed back, they hold back, they didn't release all the money that the corporation was supposed to get. This year, this wicked government has reduced the allocation for the city corporation from 40 million to 29 million.
Whoa!
You believe that? They take out $11 million for the city of Port Spain. And I could just give you one item where I could see it's deliberate. They have cut an item called contracted services, which is basically used for garbage collection in the city. Last year, the corporation spent garbage collection, and they struggled with that 20.5. It was hard. There were complaints, as you know, about garbage in the city. This year, they give them $13.5 million for the same thing. They take $7 million out of garbage collection for the city in 2026. Now, what is going to happen? The corporation will run out of money. It won't be able to collect garbage. The city will get stinker dirty, and what will happen? You will say the PNM fault. So we have to fight them. We have to protest. This can't continue. This kind of wickedness can't continue. No! Let me tell you something else. Another piece of wickedness they have done. That is what is called recurrent expenditure. There are two types of expenditure in our budget: expenditure on wages and salaries and allowances, that's called personnel expenditure, and goods and services, which is electricity, vehicles, materials, repairs, training, garbage collection, and spoke about. The other type of expenditure that every corporation gets and is entitled to is called development program. Now, the development program is to pave your roads, clean your recreation grounds, maintain your cemeteries, and do everything that the citizens who reside in the city of Port of Spain require. Clean your trains. That's what the development program is for. Let me show you what we're on. In 2025, the city of Port of Spain had an allocation of $18.2 million. Guess what they given the city of Port of Spain in 2026? 1850. 18 million in 2026 to 2025 to deal with all the issues in $5 million in 2026.
No, no.
Way $5 million. But that's not all. Diego Martin got $17 million last year. Guess how much? So they're giving him $11 million this year. They're not easy. They're not easy at all. In fact, my figures low. It was that was a remote opinion. Port of Spain got $19.7 million last year. And now they're getting $4 million. $4 million. $15.6 million gone from the money to fix your streets, to clean your drains, to deal with public amenities, to deal with the development program in the city. You know what that is? 19 gone to 4. Hold on. Point 40. 17 gone to 5. San Fernando, 20 to 18, but they ain't got that much because half of them is in Sao Lavantel, cut. Tuna Puna Piaku, cut. Arima from 18 to 5. Check this out. Shabonas. Shabonas got 17 million now. Understand the numbers I'm giving you. You realize PNM Corporation and UNC Corporation got the same amount last year. Same amount. Arima gets 16, Shabonas gets 17, Uva gets 17, Diego Martin gets 17. So PNM was sharing equally. Check this out. Shabonas got 17 million in 2025. Guess how much you're getting in 2026? $37 million. So while they cut Port of Spain by $15 million, they increased Shabonas by $21 million. Hold on. PNM got 17 million like Diego Martin and Port of Spain and Arima in 2025. $38 million for peanut in 2026. They gone up by $21 million. Princess Town got $17 million again. It was almost the same in every corporation in 2025. They got to 37 million in 2026. And I'm just talking about a small part of the budget. You see the wickedness of these people. I mean, the thing with garbage collection really upsetting me. If the corporation spent 20 million last year, how you gonna give them 30 million this year? Clearly, you're up to no good. Clearly, you're up to something. And that is not all. That is not all. You see, I explained $1 billion disappeared. 600 million on to super gas, 400 million on to Tobago. This is how $1 billion disappeared. You're taking it away from PNM areas and PNM operations. Taking it away. That's how we make up that $1 billion. In addition, look at all the new taxes they impose on people in this budget. And they feel it's smart. They feel it's smart. Let me start with national insurance. The leader in her speech today made the point that the former leader of the opposition, who is now the prime minister, protests when the idea of increasing the retirement age was even for consultation. PNM was doing consultation on that in 2021. And just the idea of PNM consulted with the trade unions and so on. She started screaming at her. I said, no way that can happen. The UNC member for Kumaso, when he said wicked, evil, devilish thing that a government could ever do to increase the retirement age and to increase the national insurance contribution. If you see about 3 pages of the evil and the wicked, and he totally opposed. What they do? They consult with government. They ask for money, then tell them money, and increasing your national insurance contribution by almost 50%. And let me give you the figures. The average wage in Trinidad and Tobago, average, is about $7,500 a month. That is how we picked the figure that below that is tax free. That's how we in PNM operated. We found out what the average wage was for people, 7,500 a month, and we made that tax free. The national insurance contribution for somebody getting that average wage right now is $345 a month. That's the NIS for somebody getting 7,500. They raised it up to $500. From 345 to $500. An extra $155. And you see this thing with the retirement age. No longer would you get a full pension of $3,000 from national insurance when you hit age 60. You gotta wait until age 65 to get that. And if you retire before age 65, you're getting less. They're cutting down your national insurance pension. And what I found so incredible, because in Darcy it is the most anti-worker oppressive thing he ever hear about in his life. That we see in 2023, 2 years ago, a UNC man, the shadow minister of labor for the UNC. He said, wicked and oppressive. They, when that was announced, all of them, including the two trade unionists in the UNC parliament, they banged the table and they said, when UNC win, everybody win. You could believe that? So they're depriving you of your national insurance pension and they're increasing your contribution by $150 a month. And I don't win. You see, like I'm winning for you. You win. Look at the thing with alcohol.
Oh God,
I've never seen anything like that.
you're a drink
Never. No government in the world has done that. You increase the tax on alcohol by 100%. Now what are they doing? They increase the tax by 100%.
She alone want to drink.
I mean, Carib is a private company, right?
Yeah.
They never bother to do nothing with them. Raise price one time. I start going from $10 to $13. One shot. Just 30% increase. And to tell you how these people they're so out of touch on how they don't care. When they ask the new Minister of Finance, why you raise alcohol so much? He said that that's small increase. They're not even going to. From $10 to $13, that is big. One that is the killer is rum. Before this budget, a bottle of white oak, which is the most popular rum in Trinidad and Tobago,
Yeah.
750 milliliter bottle of white oak was $109.
Yeah.
$109. They set it up to $155. A $46 increase. And let me tell you something else about that. They put a political appointee to head of the store. When they come in, put a political, let's call him a front couple. A fella, actually was an MP for this area. Carry on. They put him to run Angostura. You know the real increase in rum supposed to be $60 because that is the amount of tax that they raise about the rum by $60. The man only raised the thing by $46. What will happen to the next $14?
Taxpayer.
I did some maths. And I worked out that Angostura is going to lose almost $60 million a year because they have not put the proper tax on rock. And it will come. That's a publicly traded company. It's on the stock exchange. You think the shareholders taking that? They're going to make hunt, raise it up to $170. You wait and see. Now, what government does something like that? When the minister announced that they all bang the table, they say, when UNC, when everybody win. So drink up. Ordinary people win. People who will, on a Friday evening like tonight, you work hard, you go and take a little drink. That's your entertainment. You take a little drink on a Friday night, gone up by 50%. And they bang the table and they say that a win for people in this country. They're not easy. And then they disguise in taxes and telling you it will affect you. They lie. They're putting a tax on landlords. Which landlord in this country eating that? No way. Everybody who rented, your rent going up. The landlord will pass it on to you. And the landlord tax is more than the property tax.
Yeah.
About 50% more than the property tax.
Yeah.
They put a tax on banks. A really stupid tax. Because the tax is on assets of the bank. So banks are continuing to try to grow their business to become bigger and so on. They punishing the banks for growing because the tax is on their assets. Okay, the bigger they get, the more they pay. So which bank will be declaring bigger assets? They must hide them. But even so, no bank ain't eating that. They will pass it on to you, the ordinary people. So rent charges going up, interest rates going up. I thought they put a surcharge on electricity for everybody who has a business, whether your business is small or it's big. They put a surcharge on electricity. Which businessman gonna eat that? You will have to pay more from any business that uses electricity. Which business don't use electricity? They put a tax on cooking gas. And the new prime minister saying, like no big thing, nobody else use £100 cylinder. She lied. She lied. Every restaurant, every cafe, every food cart, everybody in the food preparation business, everybody who sells food to working people is using £100 cylinder. What country she living in? But that is why we say it's a fake and fraudulent budget. Fake, fake. And whatever numbers they have inside of it, fake. And whatever projects they say they're going to do, they lie. They're not going to do them. They can't do them. Let me explain why. Because I went into this budget and look at the numbers and how they come up with all of this nonsense. There's something called debt service. If you take a loan, you have to pay back every month. An ordinary person. Well, the government is the same thing. Every month, the government has to pay back its loans. The average debt service for the last 5 years is somewhere around 11, $12 billion a month. It's a big bite in the budget. It's a big amount. It makes up 20% sometimes of the national budget is debt servicing. They just take a pen. When you look, last 5 years you see 11, 12, 13, 12. That's the average. The loans ain't going to no place. The loans still there. You take a pen and they reduce the 12% in the book. Just but they could do that, but they had to pay the loans. So they will have to pay the 12 billion. So that 5 billion has to come from somewhere, and that will come from all of you. That will come from the health service. That will come from us. That will come from social services. I have never seen a government do this kind of deception before, putting bogus figures in a budget document just to look good. And that is why I am so disappointed in this university professor. The same thing I see they could see. How come they're talking? Why? Because they all compromise. They all compromised. So you have a whole bunch of taxes inside of here. Increasing cooking gas, increasing electricity, landlord tax. increase in the price of rum, increase in the price of customs duty. They double the customs charges, double it. So this thing they do with gas, right? Not everybody will save that money. Not everyone, not every working person should be able to save that money. You can't tell me every car only have one person in it. Must have two. So that means it's $25 savings you might get when you go to the gas station. You might get $100 savings on one. But again, 150 more on NAS alone coming at you. And then more for food, more for rent, more for bank charges. That is what this budget is all about. And it's all fake. So we've been there through this before. I mean, you're not dealing with serious people. I see the Minister of Finance get up and say he taking VAT off of cucumber, lettuce, and tomato. But that is a crazy man. The man, VAT was removed from those items in 2016, 9 years ago. Yes, by me. Is I do that? I take VAT off of all vegetables and meat and everything that is not processed, unprocessed food. The man can read. The first item on the VAT list was unprocessed food appetite for human consumption. This stupid man do that meat, tomato, and vegetable, and chicken, and beef. Wait, it's really hard to deal with these people. Ah, I get up and say, taking fat of coconut water, lettuce, tomato, cucumber, and salt. So you're going to suck salt 20 gallons. I mean, I'm laughing, but this is not a joke. Eh? You're dealing with rank amateur. Rank amateur. You're dealing with people who don't understand what they're doing. You're dealing with people who have already crashed the economy. When I listen to that budget address, I wonder to myself, how come there's no economic analysis in this budget? Every minister before him, me, Tukaran, Howard, Montley, every minister of finance will give you an economic analysis of the economy of Trinidad. The man is there, what's this for? He spent about an hour cussing here. He spent about an hour saying his business is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then he spent the next hour lying. Okay? That was his thing. 3 hours, cost me an praise, and lie. Equal hours. But the man talk about the country or the economy. This is something. When I went into the documents, I figured it out right away. We came out of COVID. COVID was rough. It was hard. Survived. We survived because of the made sure during COVID, people still got paid on time, protected people. But the economy took action because when COVID came, business shut down, uh, people stopped buying goods and services, oil price went down to zero, all that sort of thing. We lost about $15 billion in annual revenue, about one third or one quarter of revenue gone, but rebuilt. By 2022, just 2 years after COVID, the economy was growing again. You had economic growth in 2022, and we had economic growth in 2023, and we had economic growth in 2024. Now, when I go in the book, but I see the economy decline in 2025. So they have reversed the growth path that the PNM have put on the economy. They have reversed it. We had 3 continuous successive years of economic growth, building industries, employing people. 3 continuous years: 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. Economy shook. under this government. And that is why they didn't talk about it. They couldn't. I think I'm going to get up and say that in 2025 under me, the economy declined. After 3 years of growth under him, but he will never say that. So this is what we are dealing with. We are dealing with deceitful, incompetent, lying, wicked government. I mean, the wickedness you will see in the way they deal with the corporations. How can you explain giving the Shabonas Borough 20 million more and taking 15 million away from the Port of Spain Corporation? There's no explanation for that. It's just nastiness. So I see my colleague, Mr. Scotter. Ah, there you are. So as I said, we're doing it in shift. All right? I haven't spoken in debate yet. I will still be speaking. Whether I have to talk at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I will be speaking. And I will have a lot more to say. So, keep faith, and like keep faith, but we in Vietnam have been here before. People want to throw you out. Again, I think they could throw me out, but they throw me out 5 times. That's good. That's a distraction. Know that we ain't bothered with we dealing with a budget. They could throw all of it. Is the budget we dealing with. So keep the faith in the PNM. We've been here before and we have tried. That is why we say great things from the PNM.
That, my friend, is what unmatched experience looks like. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a man of the people, a fierce advocate for justice. Yeah. And a proud servant of the People's National Movement. Yeah. In the courtroom, he commanded respect. Yes. In Parliament, he defends principle. Yes. And on every platform, he stands for truth and justice. Yeah. Tonight, as we gather, not only to give the right account, but to protect our people by exposing the schemes and deception of this present government, we call on a voice of reason. Yeah. We call on a voice of integrity. We call on a voice of conviction. Please join me in welcoming the former minister in the Ministry of National Security, the Member of Parliament for Port of Spain South, the Honorable Pablo.
With this current costing 100% more, you know. White oak, water, punching water, beer water, every little fun that we have, water. Everything was wrong. It's hard to be in a good spirit in this country. We must never bring our spirit, but people have entered on a second moment to seriously. A time is coming very soon where we have to stop sitting down in these rooms.
Yes.
To use our preaching. Let me tell you why. When people don't care about you, and they show them that they care about you, you must show them that you care about you. We care about me. Yes, we must show this government that we are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and we have every right to live in this country. Yes. They will not get appeared in the fire.
Yeah.
If you smell like a PNM, they fire. Yeah. If you walk like a PNM, they fire. Yeah. If you talk like a PNM, and this budget is no different. We have to stand at the time coming. You see this meeting in these rooms. You gotta leave these rooms, you know, people. These rooms, state of emergency. You already know. You are not in single file. You are not the we must be out on the streets to let them know that nothing can be to me. Let me tell you how simple and deceptive this government is. And they know it. But you know what they think? They think that we are sophisticated and have sense. And we stupid. You know why? Because we give away the elections. They win it all. They win it now. So they think that now we could do what we want. And they can fool us and fool the country. And let me talk to the country. This Minister of Finance has, in a budget, you set your price and your estimated revenue. And because we are mainly oil and gas, our main income revenue earnings comes from oil and gas. So you set your earnings from oil and gas as your main revenue earner to show what income you will have, right? Before you set the price that you think you will get from your oil and gas, you consult the figures, you consult the experts, and you see what the projections are for the price that you will get in the following year, 2026, for oil and gas. You got that me so far?
Yeah.
So this minister based his budget on an oil price of $73.25 per barrel. Okay? He then set the gas price at $4.35 per cubic foot. All right?
Mhm.
So let us see that. He couldn't just pick that figure out of my hand because I told you before, you don't just set a predicted price for oil and gas. You look and see what the market is seeing. What does West Texas Intermediate say about the projected price of gas, of oil in 2026? $48.50. What does Brent crude? We produce Brent. What does Brent say will be the predicted price of oil in 2026? $52. Where on earth did this minister get the price of $73.25 from? He picked it out of a hat, and let me tell you why. Because he knows that in order to access the heritage fund set up by Patrick Money, you must be in a deficit. You must set a budget at a price that you can't get, and you fall into deficit. And then you say, well, the money I expected to make, I didn't make it. So let me put on the fund. We have already lost 600 million US dollars between April and now unaccounted for. The defense. So what is going to happen now? What is going to happen now is when 2026 comes around and the price of oil is $50. The minister will then say, well, I set the price at 73, but we're not making that. So let me dip into the heritage fund. That fund belongs to but your children and your grandchildren and your great grandchildren. But they feel that we so unsophisticated that we never do math and English that they can throw that down our throats and we will swallow it and laugh and then gig. It's the time for laughing.
Done.
We have to stop meeting in this room. Yeah. Meet somewhere else, you know. Yeah. We must meet them somewhere else, you know. And let them see that we are part of this country too, you know. How could he mommy guys like that? What is stupid? He wouldn't want to be just have to pick up a phone and in a 10-year-old and Google what is the estimated price of oil in 2026. And then say $48 or $2. He really taken us, PNM family, and by extension Trinidad and Tobago or fools, because this does not affect us alone. This affects the entire of Trinidad and Tobago. That's the first point I want to make. Second point I want to make is this. It follows that this government has now pegged the earning of $180 million from penalties and fines that they will get when you or one of us is found, God forbid, drinking and driving above the alcohol level or careless driving. We are always for the increase in penalties for wrongdoing because we want to deter wrongdoing, yes? Yes, yes. But by setting that as a revenue, you know what he's saying? He's encouraging you to go out and drink drunk and drive and then come and then make 180 million over you when people die on the road. Because that is what happens when you drink drunk, when you drive when you're drunk. That doesn't happen. Yeah. You kill people on the road because you're not in your senses. But the government has set that as a revenue earning measure that they will make 180 million off of fines for people who are caught drunk while driving. Is that a serious government? No. Is that a serious policy of a government that really cares? And here is the jurisprudential fact of this, speaking as senior counsel. I don't often a fine and a penalty should never be used as an economic earning tool. That is law 101. Yeah. A fine and a penalty is used as a deterrent to stop people by banking on that 180 million. They're banking on you to break the law so they can take 180 million. Why should you bury your family who are innocently walking on the road and killed by I want us to start to take this government seriously. This is not a laughing matter. And this country must understand what we are facing. We mustn't be strident or persistently angry, although we have good reason to be. But we must be vigilant. We must stop the time for gigging and sitting down here and go on, people. We have to start to let this government feel that we are being wronged. How could they give the capital city $4 million and give Shibona 28 million? Come on! That's an insult. So they didn't know that we would have picked up a book. Wait, hold on. They give us 4 million. They don't care about us. And by not caring about us, they don't care about the country. And I will show you why in the next point I want to make. My pet peeve is the sending home of these CPEP. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not mentioning the contractors just yet, but I put all of them together. I put all of them together. You know when you do something that is so bad that you have to find an excuse for doing it? So here's the excuse. You are all criminals. You are all gangsters. Yeah. Every CPEP contractor, every worker is a criminal. So they have to stop the program. Yes, there are problems with the program. We people, we have to start to take a responsibility for our own lives and understand where we are to well. Because they make a point where they know the program wasn't supposed to be, it wasn't designed to be long. We say yes. But in every society, there's a segment of the society called the vulnerable. And all responsible, caring governments look after the vulnerable. Look at the manner in which they settle these workers. It was in the middle of the August vacation. That's the time when you're preparing to send your children to a higher form in school. And then they pass the common entrance, or they pass the CXC, and they're going from form 1 to form 2, or from standard 1 to standard 2. It's not the time. Yeah. When you want them to come out fresh. Yeah. When come the 9th of September, every child look for the new bag, the new box. New haircut. Parts crisp with a seam in it. What they did to these workers, they made them penniless. Yes. Because if they're not earning the right way, how else are we going to earn? How else are we going to earn? House invasion. It doesn't stop there. It does not stop there. I heard a member saying in debate today, oh, what happened to Petrochem? They get revenue. Every worker from Petrochem who ain't get land, they get money. Who ain't get money, they get shares. They were compensated. Was any cement worker compensated? Was any European worker compensated? Any forestry worker compensated? Imagine one night you go to bed, you're employed. The next morning you wake up and you're unemployed. You know what it is to see your children wanting food. Nothing is worse, parents. You could go hungry, but to see your children go hungry, something else, it is eating your clothing. Yes. I have my big daughter. She never went hungry. But one day, we were cooking a pillar. Somebody from Tobago. She have a real sweet hand. I know we had to give the pillar all the time for the water to boil down. And the water was taking long to boil down. And I see that girl crying for food. It was smelling good, you understand? The pepper bubbling in the pot. And she want to eat. The pillar in the pot there, you know. But it taking long. She said, give me the sappy rice, I'll eat it. I said, you say sappy rice? She said, yes. I said, yeah, it's all sappy rice. That's when you have food. You can even keep your children with you. And you have food. Do they really care about us? Because that's what they do, you know. That's what they have done to us, you know, people. To our people who we care about. Going about their lives in a legitimate fashion, doing something. And up to now, they haven't told us what compensation will be given to these developers.
None.
What will happen to the contractors? But you brand all of them gangsters. I know all 9 of my contractors, and none of them, from Levi to Dixie, they might have gangster ways when they come in by me. The gangster me for the gangster me for a contribution. But they can do that to me. But they're not gangsters. They are hardworking people. And here is what I want this government to understand. The people who they have affected are mainly single parents, mothers, who in that program trying to do a balancing act. Because a balancing act they do when you know. They're working, but they still have to nurture the children. It's not so.
Yeah.
They still have to teach their manners and how to say our father. Yeah. And have to nurture them and go home. So they balance in life. They balance in life. And sometimes they go from paycheck to paycheck. Nothing wrong with that. What they have done is that they have eliminated the cycle of the paycheck with these workers. They have eliminated the cycle of the paycheck for the most vulnerable, for people who, no fault of their own, have found themselves in a position but where they were working before. And don't say, listen, don't for one moment call them unskilled, you know. They want us to call us unskilled. They're not unskilled. They have skills. Listen, said with a piece of glass, I've got to fill up the face. It's a skill to do that, you know, people. To manicure, to do it properly. It's a skill. But they want to label us unskilled because it feels good to say unskilled. We are not unskilled. We are skilled differently. So don't think that they're unskilled. What they have done is in order to justify what they've done and to make themselves feel better, they've labeled us as criminals, gangsters, ghosts. You saw those people in there. You see the people used to wear this. You see them in the green, the tops from the Beta Money Highway. You see them cleaning the trains. You see them cutting the grass. That's ghosts. In St. James and the other son, the first people come and see them workers is not so. What is ghost about them? They are real people working real lives with real families who have now been thrown on the breadline without one iota of compassion. And what did a fellow former trade union say? He called them
That's what I'm
You don't understand the psyche behind how these people look at others, but it doesn't stop there. Trinidad and Tobago, I want to tell business people,
yeah.
watch what this government is doing as it will affect your business. Because these workers, although they are statistics, they are the ones who would fuel your business by their consumerism, you know. And if their consumerism stop, your business declines. You know.
Plenty.
And that is exactly what they have done. They have taken 15,000 potential customers and clients away from you. So do not feel in your little in pain that it's a burden. You know, it's them and we, you know, it is us. Trinidad and Tobago has always been an us. The us is a delicate balance, but it has always been. And I fear that the us that is Trinidad and Tobago is being eroded by a government who's taking us for a fool. And we need to stop meeting here and meet elsewhere. We're not fools. We not breaking any laws. I want to make that clear. Clear. But state of emergency or not the time for sitting down here and talking. Far gone, you know. When somebody up to now, let's listen. I got a text the other day from a constituent. Monday, the text read from, from somebody who don't stay in the lane. The text read, come down to the office. We have URP jobs. Parliament law. So it went, no. We will now put on this kind of jersey. You will go and protest outside the parliament. And when you come back, you'll get $200. Ah, listen, I have the text and I have court clothes. I have it on the phone. I know when you forward a text, you get the thing called forward. I have the forward. I was amazed that in 2025, you can treat people that way, use them that way. We must stop being used. We must say for that $200 is all right. Sometimes when you don't have 200, it's plenty, you know, people. But we must start to view ourselves a little more valuable than people using us like that. One of them, a senator, who's still a minister, called us rabid dogs. You don't believe that? If one of us had said rabid dogs, you know, and he wants to be up in Despoli Crescent, and he calling we rabid dogs. I want us to start to take stock of ourselves and what is going on from this budget. This budget has placed nothing for us. But they threw out a figure, 8,000 jobs. So let's do math.
Hmm.
You know when you used to go on board math? So I am board of math. So let's fire 50,000, correct?
Yeah.
8,000. 8 into 50 is how much? 4 eights are what? 5 eights are 40. Yeah. 6 eights are 48. 6 times the amount they fire when they created 8,000 jobs. Where did them 8,000 jobs going to? You?
No.
You? It ain't going to none of you all. But in any event, that 8,000 jobs could it have come for the 15,000 jobs that were lost? That's the question I want to ask you.
No.
Figure school. That's where this meeting. We should have really go to this meeting. But there's a figure school meeting. Let me see it. So let's go a picture and say we pick a squad and say that. So you talk already? slacking, slack out. I don't mind what happened. Yeah, yeah, with all of what I've told you, we must have solutions because it just can't be being independent. We are resilient people. Yes, we have to start to look after ourselves and not depend too much on these people. You remember the concept called Zuzu? Yeah. Yeah. Calling about the same CPAP contractor. I am binding all my 10, they are coming together to form one company. Jobs. In Port of Spain South, sorry, we have the best folks. We have the best artisans, the best farmers, the best shoemakers, the best seamstresses, the best tailors. That's our history. We went off. We have to start to make ourselves a little more self-sufficient. And most importantly, for our children, we have to teach them to have a stake in the economy. They have to start open business, not just do. You say I never to school, but I start to open business. Yeah. Because that is where we must position ourselves. So when a government like this who don't care about us comes, we can stand solid and say, it's all right. Keep your $200. You understand me, people? Yeah. So we have a solution. But that solution lies within us being together and not letting our bond be broken by this yoke that has been put around us. You understand me, people? Yes. So I have to go now because Stuart is here. The time for sitting down in this room is over. Get up, get out, and let them hear the voices. Great to see you. Great to see you. Great to see you.
They don't care about us. No. We will not be fooled. No. We will not be oppressed. No. We will not be shackled. No. We are the people's national movement. And we stand resolute and ready. Allow me please to recognize our Deputy Political Leader of Policy, Mr. Sanchi Buru. Yeah. And the former member of Parliament, Again. Joining us, we have Senator Faris Al-Rawi. But our next speaker is a man of many hats. Many hats. An accomplished attorney at law. Yeah. A seasoned government minister. Yeah. A trusted representative of the people. Yeah. He proudly served briefly as the 8th Prime Minister of Trinidad and as Minister of Energy, he represented Trinidad and Tobago at the very highest levels of negotiation. Yeah. In the global oil and gas sector. Skillfully, the key word being skillfully maneuvering complex relationships while keeping our nation's interests at the forefront. Yeah. And of course, he is the proud member of Parliament for Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round welcome to the patriots, the proud son of the soil, the Honorable Stuart Young,
He did. Good night, good night, good night. What has been on St. West welcomes you all to the constituency, to our political leader who is on our way. As you know, we're doing the balancing act. We're dealing with the vagabonds in Parliament, with their fake and fraudulent and fictitious budget. To our deputy political leader, young Sanjeev Guru, to all party officers who are present, to our first citizen of Port of Spain, our very own Parliament Chitwa to all the members of Port of Spain City Corporation, to all of you lovely people here with us in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's, West and Belmont, and to all of you in Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, how good it is to be on a PNM platform, proclaiming the truth, here to deliver the facts, here to deliver the truth, and here, once again, to fight for Trinidad and Tobago. I have intentionally remained quiet since April 20th. And there are a number of reasons for that. But do not ever interpret silence for weakness. During that period of time, as someone who would give his life for Trinidad and Tobago, I have observed and heard and witnessed everything. And tonight, God has brought me here to share some thoughts and some words with you in my very own constituency. I want to start by thanking all of Port of Spain North St. Anne's West for your faith, for your loyalty, for your support, and for returning me as your Member of Parliament on April 28th. But I won't stop there. I thank all of the thousands and thousands of people, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but also from outside of Trinidad and Tobago, who message me on a daily basis. And I can't get into the type of messages they send. But your support, your encouragement, and your appreciation gives us the strength to continue the battle, because it is a battle. And it is our Trinidad and Tobago. Always remember that. And it is every creed and race find an equal place, despite the stupid talk you would hear. And there's someone here in the audience tonight, do identify yourself, who really brought a special warmth to my heart 2 days ago. We've never met in person, but this person messages me somehow, well, I guess everybody has a number, and gives support and encouragement. And 2 days ago, sent me a message to say, I want confirmation you're going to be on the stage in Belmont. I said, well, God willing, ma'am. She said, well, I am about to get on a plane to come to Trinidad just to hear you talk. And then I'm going back. So you know where you are here. Because she called me when she messaged when she was on the plane. She messaged when she arrived in Trinidad last night. She spoke to me this morning. Thank you. And thank you to the thousands who continue to support us, the People's National Movement, knowing that we are the only ones who will stand in the breach and fight for what is right in Trinidad and Tobago. And I make no apologies whatsoever for being a fighter. None. And I will continue to fight as long as God gives me that strength. I am concerned as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, concerned about what we have seen in the last 5 months, concerned about the attacks on our vulnerable in society. I am concerned about how the government came in and they fired CPEP workers, they fired URP workers, they fired reforestation workers, they started going to not only ministries but state enterprises and targeting people and firing people. And I will say it here tonight. It is unacceptable, and we know what you're doing, and there is an element of race in it. And that is not to be accepted. Because you see, I feel pray that restore and that conversation, and we have to take it on. We have to expose it because it is people who are suffering. I know, we know in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, and the constituencies around. It is real people, real families who were working in CPEP. So all this stupid talk that they come with about corruption and criminality, if they have that and if they had it, deal with that. You don't fire 10,000 people and put families on a bread line. That is wrong. They did it in CPEP, they did it in URP, reforestation, everything. And you know what saddens me? Warned the population about this. Warned about this. But it is no use crying over spilled milk. But we will take the fight to them. And tonight, one of my colleagues in Parliament, when I say colleague, not a PNM, because that's my family, one of those on the other side said he was going to fight for the CPEP workers, it's only the contractors. I'll tell them in the Parliament, but I'll tell you here now. Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union. I had a conference with them. It was one of the unions I work closely with and will continue to work with now that I'm back in practice as well. And the case is open. We are going to take it to court for CPEP workers. Great, the end. But I will lead that fight there for whoever wants the fight to be taken on. Because you see, you cannot just come and destroy lives in the callous manner that you are, and then come in a budget and in a small line item, put a $7 million and say you're winding up SPEP. The courts don't work so. I don't know who giving you that advice. And to do all of these underhand things, and then come and say the Prime Minister will announce. She wasn't there for the whole day today. The Prime Minister will announce what they're going to do with $700 million. Trinidad and Tobago. Watch it closely and watch it carefully because we believe in equity. We believe in everybody having a fair chance. And if they make the mistake and come and handpick who is going to get that job, that support, we will not stand for it. Because the Constitution protects against discrimination and victimization. The budget, and they're selling budget as the greatest thing since sliced bread. And they're fooling people once again. Well, look, we're going after those at the top of the food chain. And they're making it look and selling it as though it is those at the top of the food chain. But it don't work so. Let us take the tax on rental. So the tax on landlords, and they don't like it to be said is a property tax because people taking all kind of technical terms and saying, well, it's not a property tax, it's only the landlords, it was not residential. It is a tax. And let me ask you something. Which landlord who get in charge tax so his profit drops and he now has to pay money to the state? Which landlord going to absorb that and say, don't worry, tenant. I don't handle that. I hear the minister of finance all over the place here, and they said it to the parliament. You all be kind, take your burden. Landlord's not going to do that. So rent is going to go up. And who you're trying to fool? We know you're going to target certain people. The LPG tax on £100 and up. And then they say, well, the small man, let's use a small man. Okay, true. And then you had a minister go on live television and callously when it's put to him, say, stay home and cook. Stay home and cook. But you have to be able to afford the food to cook home. And I have been told all along in certain areas in Trinidad where people are hurting that the small parlors are seeing, even at the parlor level, and it's important we understand this, they're seeing a change in the purchasing patterns. That people before who could afford a loaf of bread and cheese, now they're coming in alone for a loaf of bread. No cheese. And this is what the government is doing to people. It is unacceptable. So let's get back to the LPG tank. Who do you think uses those £100 LPG tanks? It is fast food places, it is restaurants, it is people that you buy food from, and that's why the minister who was ashamed to say at one stage was a member of the PNM, say stay at home and cook. So when your LPG costs gone up, and then remember the increase in electricity rates on commercial and industrial. Once you have a business which includes a food place, which includes a grocery, any type of business is considered commercial. So electricity going up, you think they're going to absorb those costs? Because taxing can who ask them to absorb the costs? It is all going to come down. And you know who's going to hurt again? It is the average person and the man on the street is the same small man. So people do not be fooled. It pains me. It pains me when I see because one thing they're good at is PR. One thing they're good at is fooling people with communication. And let us welcome our political leader. Many people. This is a political leader. Welcome to Water State North St. Anne's West. Welcome. And let us congratulate our leader who today dropped a sterling speech and response in the budget. Something worthy of the people's national movement and leadership. So I was talking about do not be fooled by the shenanigans and by these charlatans now who are in office. So LPG price will go up, electricity will go up, rent will go up, and it is going to hit the small man
After you're done, fire them from their jobs. After you're done, not only KFC, the barbecue, the double the Chinese food, everything. You cannot fool the people. And these are the things the budget does. Let me tell you about the banks. They go on now and they issue levies on the banking institution and insurance companies. And you know what frightened me with that? They put a little proviso, a little fine print as you call it. And they said anyone in the special economic zone will not be subject to this. So Trinidad and Tobago tonight, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open and see which of their financiers, which of their friends, which of their family go and get a license for the special economic zone to get away from it. But you know banks is charged for everything. Banks have online banking, they're charging you for online banking, but that means you have less workers, less people. So if they get charged for that, an association has already come out and said that they're looking at it, expect the cost there to go up as well. Insurance is the same thing, but let me tell you all something that has me most worried about what I see taking place. Because you have to look at where the attacks came and where the attacks were directed at. The first place in the financial system, which people is the heart and the backbone of an economy. The first place they targeted is the central bank of Trinidad and Tobago. First place they reach, and they got rid of the governor of the central bank. I am representing him, so I wouldn't say anything about that because I'll be talking about it in court. But the first thing they did, and they put immediately because they had him ready, is that their former minister of finance. And I'll tell you what unfolded there. So central bank down. The next place they attack is First Citizens Bank. First Citizens Bank, they lick it up, put their people inside, move the CEO, change the board. And when you look at the composition of the board, you have now a chairman of that board who's also chairman of Unicot. And I saw something about how he complaining about everybody now asking him this and asking him that. Do not take it for granted. So FCB down, right here in the budget document, they have told you what they're going to do. This is what they told you. We have installed new boards at First Citizens Bank and the Exim Bank, and we will move to install a majority of directors at Republic Bank Limited. It's in the papers today. And this is what he goes on to say. I am proud to announce that in our efforts to build economic fairness, Tobago's interests will be represented on all three boards with a Tobagonian on each board. Central Bank down, FCB down, Republic Bank down. When you begin to attack the financial institutions of an economy and of a country, let me tell you what will happen next. It is downgrade, interest rates will go up, bondholders who have Trinidad and Tobago's paper and who lend the money to Trinidad and Tobago are now going to be looking on and saying, hold on, there's more risk because they have destabilized the financial backbone and heart of Trinidad and Tobago. And if that begins to happen, Krakow smoke with pipe and God help Trinidad and Tobago. Because after downgrade, interest rates gone up, and next thing is devaluation. And the IMF. Oh Lord. They are doing this in front of face. And let me tell you what else happened. They came in on the 1st of May. Today is the 17th of October. May, June, July, August, September. You can't touch money in October. 5 months. You know what we found out? Our foreign reserves, 600 million US, taken out of our foreign reserves, and we don't know where it has been spent. You know where those foreign reserves are held? Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. So when you move certain people
You now have easier access. You know what's the first domino effect of that? Our foreign exchange foreign exchange reserves has now dropped from 8 months to 5 months. They've only been in power for 5 months. 600 million US gone. If we go any lower with that formula, you end up at the IMF. Next place that you have US, that is Trinidad and Tobago's US, is the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. I didn't bring the book because it's big. Going through the revenue forecast for the next year, that document that you have to present to Parliament in a budget shows how much you estimated for 2024, 2025, how much you actually did. They call it a revised estimate, and then how much for 2026. You know what we saw for the first time in that document? $2.7 billion TT dollars taken out of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund in the last 5 months. That's about 400 million US dollars. So 400 million plus 600 million US dollars is a billion US dollars. A billion US dollars of hard currency, US, taken out by the government over the last 5 months. If that is not a clear indication of how destructive they are and the pathway that they have us, then you had to be blind. So Trinidad and Tobago, this is not about fear mongering. It is about reality. This is what they are doing. We have to get answers from the government, and you, the citizens, are the only ones to demand those answers because we are not getting questions in Parliament. You have to ask this government, where has $1 billion US dollars gone in the last 5 months? Who got that $1 billion dollars? Because you hear the Minister of Finance boasting this week. Even him as the Minister of Finance gone to the bank and only got 200 US dollars. So if it hasn't helped the banks for the man on the street to get US dollars, where has 1 billion of our United States dollars gone in 5 months? And I am warning Trinidad and Tobago once again, cautioning that combination bank under this UNC government. If we don't monitor it, we don't call for accountability and transparency, you're going to wake up one morning and heaven help us. And you add that to what they're doing geopolitically. Because you see where we are geographically. 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela, largest oil reserves in the world. And then you have our ally, the United States, to the north, and we all know what's going on there. CARICOM is one of the most important bodies to provide every member of CARICOM with protection by keeping in solidarity. The first thing Kamala did is break out of that. We're going to lose if we haven't lost it already, our sovereignty. Big word. What it means is we are making our decisions. When you start to combine all of these things, it is not a good thing for Trinidad and Tobago. And God forbid that anything untoward starts to happen 7 miles off our coast, we'll see it closer. But that is what they have put us into. That is why the PNM's policy has always been non-intervention, non-interference. Remain a zone of peace in our area of the world. This is the Western Hemisphere. Keep your eye on unit trust as well, because there's another statement in here that I want to draw to our attention tonight. And it is where the Minister of Finance
talks about how he going and pay the back pay, right? And they were just boasting that no, well, we haven't provided money yet because there are negotiations and when it comes to conclusion. But we had run the figures and we know what it's going to be. What he said in the budget document is he's going to speak to FCB, Republic Bank, and NIB, who we already know is under strain, to provide the money for this back pay. See the pieces of the puzzle coming together and remember it is a PNM platform that drew it to the country's attention. Because that is our job, to highlight it, to tell the citizens of the danger, and then for us to be prepared to lead the charge, which we are. State of emergency. In a state of emergency, we are in a state of emergency, and this for us in Port of Spain, and I'm sure the leader in Arima as well was upsetting all. You remember they cancelled independence? Yeah. Right here? No fireworks, fine. No parade. And what was the reason they gave? Security, state of emergency, correct? So you remember that? They gave the reason for no Independence Day parade, which is a patriotic parade, which is a parade held here in the capital city, right there, a few hundred meters away from where we are tonight. Security. This is today's Express editorial. Just over 2 weeks in, they're talking about this month, right? By contrast, the character of this month is a dark and ominous reality. Just over 2 weeks in, more than 28 murders have been recorded, disturbingly distributed across the country's geography. A 7-day period was the bloodiest week of the year, with 20 people murdered, including a triple murder in Friendship Village, San Fernando, a double murder of two brothers in Mount Hope, a deadly ambush and killing of a businessman in Chaguanas, and a double shooting at a bar in Valencia. Within the past days, a janitor was fatally shot in the Port of Spain shopping complex on Charlotte Street. The body of a missing Charleville businessman was discovered over a precipice on a North Coast road, routinely traversed by beachgoers and soldiers trekking through through the forested area of North Coast Road, Diego Martin, happened upon a corpse. This relentless surge in violence continued with the shooting of a 9-year-old boy and his father in their Maloney Gardens apartment. On Wednesday morning, 4 were shot in Brasso Village. Among them were two brothers, schoolboys from Tamakit Secondary School. One man died. The others were 20 and 23. All of this under a state of emergency, the second for this year alone. That is an editorial today. They don't put it on the front page anymore, put it in the editorial. That's not the PNM saying that. Those are the facts. The bloodiest month in the middle of a state of emergency. You cancel Independence Parade because of. Let me ask you this. You didn't see them in CPL?
Yeah.
You didn't see them in CPL?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what we experienced when we went for the budget this Monday. They had hundreds of people down in the square. I could tell you, former Minister of National Security is a former chairman of the National Security Council. If there really was a fear of some harm coming to ministers and high profile people, the last thing you would want is hundreds of people all looking alike, all in the same kind of jersey, all chanting Prime Minister. And that is what they did this Monday. I saw the Minister of Homeland Security. And the next one is saying on the threat. Who on the threat for the CPEP, but the URP and this kind of thing. The Minister of rural development and local government, shack-shacking, the Woodford Square. I am asking Trinidad and Tobago tonight, they cancel Independence Day, saying security concerns, they scale back Republic Day, things that happened in Port of Spain, but that is what you do on Monday of this week, in the bloodiest month of the year just finished, bloodiest few weeks. You pay people to come down to Woodford Square and to line up all over the place, hundreds of people. If there was anything to happen, wouldn't that have been the perfect time for something to happen? Yeah. So who's telling the truth? And then you know what? Every single way you turn now, they're having a celebration in the constituency. They're having a celebration here, there, and everywhere. The same ministers taking theatre in their constituency. Yes. You cannot fool the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And the People's National Movement is here to always shine the light of truth for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And to fight for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So what is the real reason that the Independence Day parade was cancelled? Is it because it's in Port of Spain?
Yes.
Is it that you don't like Port of Spain?
Yes.
Is it that you have a problem with Port of Spain?
Yes.
Is it that you're frightened of them boo in Port of Spain?
Yes.
Because the PNM can go anywhere in the country. The only party to make sure we always field candidates in the 41 constituencies and every electoral district of a local government election. And as we're talking about Port of Spain, them same books with the budget, let me tell you what they did to Port of Spain. Our development program, which is where we get the important projects done in Port of Spain. 2025, they had $19,750,000 in the development program. So say $19,750,000. You know what the UNC did this year? Cut it. $4 million. So they take away $15 million from the city of Port of Spain. Why? They're going to tell you about, oh, well, they only spent 800 and something thousand. But you know why? Because they refuse to approve all of the releases being sent by Port of Spain to create this fake narrative. So they intend to lick up Port of Spain because they have a local government election coming. And they seem to have a problem with Port of Spain. But as the MP for Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, there are plenty more problems coming your way. Look outside here, you will see Central Block, Port of Spain General Hospital. If you are going to open that in the next few months, we will be outside that hospital waiting. Because it is the people of Port of Spain, they go Martin until all of us who looking for employment in that hospital, and just because it's built by the PNM, go play your comment and link it up. Let me tell you, 2 line items, so you'll understand the vengeance and the venom they turn it on us in Port of Spain. Local roads and bridges. They have reduced the local roads and bridges in the budget for Port of Spain City Corporation from $6 million to $500,000. So you're going from $500,000 a month to look after our roads and bridges in Port of Spain, and they give us $500,000 for the year. So Port of Spain, we taking that. No. Drainage. They reduced drainage for Port of Spain City Corporation from $6 million to $500,000, and then they will use that to talk about flooding in Port of Spain and all sorts of problems in Port of Spain. We are blind and we are stupid, and we see what you're doing. But you know what's the most offensive part? And I believe in equity. I believe in not playing the geographic politics, because we didn't do that as the PNM. Every single year for the last 10 years when we were preparing budgets, we sat down, they made sure corporations had roughly the same. You know what they did? Borough Corporation. 2025, they had 17.25 million in their development program. This year, they give them 37.9 million, an increase of over 20 million. Penal Davy Regional Corporation. 2025, they had 17.15 million. 2026, they give them 38.1 million, over 21 million increase. Princestown, 2025, 17.35 million. This year, 37.4 million, over 20 million increase. And we had no problem there because you have your problems too. But don't come and attack us in Port of Spain and try to lick us up. And listen, the mayor will tell you done with garbage collection. So I'm warning all of our burgesses and all of our constituents now in Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, what they have done with the garbage collection because it sickens me. Garbage collection. The PNM 2025 budget was $21.3 million. You know how much they give us this year? A reduction of 37%. They're going to play the politics with garbage collection because it irritates all of us citizens when we have a dirty community. But this is what the UNC is doing, and they're doing it in your face. So, people, the last thing I will touch on for tonight, because we have a debate going on in the parliament, and our leader is here to speak to us, is I'm putting us on another warning. There are cases in the High Court and cases in the court system that are fighting white collar crime. There are cases inside there by now. Every citizen should know about EMBD. Yeah. And that is former minister there, another minister with Eden Gardens. These are matters before the court, but we are also seeing what they're doing to these matters. And they try to do it in creative ways. I have been asking for over a month now, almost 2 months, about the NGC SIS arbitration for the Beaton wastewater corruption and the fight against that. And I have asked repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly the Prime Minister, the Minister of Energy, the NGC board, did NGC not win that arbitration and receive an award of over $350 million against SIS? And it was on a Christmas Eve in 2015. We went and froze $180 million of SIS assets because we were worried about fleeing the jurisdiction. They have said nothing because that is the disdain and the disregard they have for us. But NGC won the matter. And you know why they delayed? To allow SIS, suspect they delayed, to allow SIS to file action in court, to then come and say, well, SIS appealing the matter, they challenging the matter. That is how they will deal with things. We saw what went on with the Jamona matter. We saw what went on there. They still have a ticket available to go to the country. Right? These matters before the court, let's keep a close eye on it. Because we are asking questions and we're not getting answers. And there's special ways they could go about trying to discontinue or to do things to matters, changing the lawyers, trying to find ways not to prosecute the matters. These will have long-standing effects on us as citizens. Because if you can't fight corruption in the court, where are you going to fight it? And we know in these cases, like the EMBD case, you had a judge, Justice Abood, in August 2020, say there's a case to answer. The case went all the way to Privy Council. There is a case to answer. All of a sudden now we see maneuvers starting to take place. Trinidad and Tobago, the People's National National Movement is the only choice. You made a mistake on the 28th of April.
and plenty always be on the phone with buyer's remorse and regrets, etc. We can't change the past. Get behind those who will fight for the country and will save this country. Because if in 5 months they could take $1 billion and we don't know where it gone. There's another thing here in this budget where they started talking about the expansion of CDAP. We deal with that in the parliament. We are here to look after your business. Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, I thank you sincerely again. Political leader, I thank you for the opportunity for tonight. PNM, Trinidad and Tobago, let your heart not be troubled, because you have a team in the People's National Movement that will fight for what is right for Trinidad and Tobago. And you can certainly count on me to be part of that fight all the time, every time. Because you see, I am accustomed, I am accustomed, I am accustomed to rules, I am accustomed to them kind of thing. And we will persevere and we will prosecute on your behalf. So tonight, stand by. Stand by when we force them to open Central Block. Yes. Stand by when we want our Savannah clean. Yes. Stand by when they drown in us with no money for bridge and road and no money for drainage. When they put in pressure on the mayor, the aldermen, and the councillors. All
We will not be fooled. Today, she stood in She stood like the rock of Gibraltar, meticulous, unshakable, exposing a budget that gave with one hand, but took back so much more in cunning and calculation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no ordinary woman. Today, the country stopped, not in fear, but in awe. Calm in posture, fierce in principle. She fights for us. She defends us. She rises with and for us. And clearly, she is already getting under their skin. Yes. All of a sudden, it's about privileges. Committee. She is the fire in our fights. She is the strength in our cause. She is the leader who will restore government that works for the people. Transparent, accountable, effective. Our political leader, our champion, the Honorable Penelope Beckles.
When something going like, you have to be careful what you say. The tax on this is going up and taking Let me just say good night, but I am in the constituency of Port Spain, North St. West, your member of Parliament, our former Prime Minister, the Honorable Stuart Young. Let me especially acknowledge His Worship the Mayor, the City of Port Spain, Parliament Chairman Allen, and all other councillors. Let me acknowledge my deputy political leaders who are here, Sanjay Bulu, all other officers of the party, all members of Parliament, People's National Movement. Good night. So, Stuart would have told you that, we are having this meeting. There's a traditional meeting.